New York City. And good morning, B&H and Bild Expo. 50 years. That's a lot older than me, by just a little bit. So for those of you, actually show of hands here, who is not familiar with me, has never heard of me, has never seen me before? Show of hands here. And that's the overwhelming majority of the room. Fantastic, let's change that. So my name is Roberto Blake. I'm a creative entrepreneur, public speaker, and if you're not familiar with my story, about roughly, a decade ago, I was pretty much an average employee. Anybody here an average employee right now, working 9-to-5 job, grind mode and everything like that? You know exactly what that's about. So, my talk today is how to profit from your passion, the creator economy, because I had the good fortune to be the person in my family who, first generation American, child of immigrants. I actually got to do things I was passionate about in my career in my early 20s. I went into the field of graphic design. Before that, I worked my way up through photography and so on and so forth. So I have been someone who's, as a child of the internet since 13, now 39, has been here to see the rise of creative entrepreneurship, the creator economy, what these platforms can do. And I didn't have a way when I was an employee in the early part of my life to tap into it in the way that somebody in their 20s does today, which is a fantastic transformation. But for those in your 30s or those approaching your 40s who are still in the 9-to-5 job and would like to finally take ownership of your career, would finally like to take ownership of your passion turned into profit, I've actually done the homework for you, just like I did back in high school. That's how I made my side money. And the funny thing about it is that it's actually never been a better time in the history of ever to be a creator. We finally have the tools at our disposal that are affordable. We finally have access to platforms to give us an audience and a reach that you only could get if you were one of the 6 media companies that owned everything. And so now we have that power, and funny thing is, the access point sitting right in your pocket, the ability to broadcast to the entire world if you're interesting enough, a power that was held by the 0.001% just 40 years ago when I was born. So we have that now, and we have access to it. And as you can see, there are things that I've accomplished. There are, my highlight reel there. But the thing that I'm the most proud of that I'm going to tell you about is that I managed to learn how to do this because of how many people put out free information, free resources over the years. People like Terry White, people like Scott Kelby, people like Jared Polin. They were very generous with their knowledge, and in following in that footsteps and that tradition, the thing that I felt was not put out there was how to actually make money doing this and how to do it in an earnest and legitimate way. I came up through graphic design and agencies and working at a web hosting company, so I got to see the back end of multiple online entrepreneurs when I worked in web hosting. I got to learn a lot about the industry when I worked in graphic design and advertising right here in New York, actually, at that time in my life. And I learned how people built their business truly from nothing in their bedroom, and that was very inspiring to me, and ultimately I wanted to help other people do likewise. So having done it, and having done so much, I compiled that information, shared it on the internet with over 1,600 online videos, my podcast and everything, and today I want to share some of the highlight, finer points of the business side of creativity and profiting from your passion. And what I did was I actually used this old school technology called a QR code to give you immediate access to this same presentation so that you can have it with you at all times. All you're going to do is throw in your name and email, and you're going to get this immediately. You can push the download button, and just in case something goes wrong or you don't have it, you'll get an email that has a link so that it's in your inbox so that you can always find it and download this presentation. So I've made it super easy for everybody to be able to get the information they need and follow along. I'm about that convenience, curation, and consistency. So boom, there you go. Everybody got it? Everybody who wants it got it? All right, let's move on. So what if you could make a reasonable living from your content creation? It doesn't have to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. It doesn't have to be $300,000 a year. It doesn't even have to be $100,000 a year. For most people, the median income, $55,000 a year, doing something you enjoy, that you're passionate about, that makes you feel a sense of ownership in what you've built, would be more than enough to justify the commitment, and it can go up from there. And so this is ultimately what I try to help teach and what I try to inform people on. And so what I will tell you is majority of my success, I've been successful on multiple platforms, but YouTube is unbeatable. YouTube is unbeatable. In the world of pop culture, I will tell you that YouTube and Google decided to gather up the Infinity Stones, put on that Thanos Infinity Gauntlet, and eliminate their competition. And the Avengers ain't coming this time. So there's that. YouTube is unbeatable. It is the second largest search engine in the world. Its parent company, Google, is the first largest search engine in the world, so they have absolute market dominance and everything like that. They're a monopoly of meritocracy because no one, and I mean no one here, wants to use the second best video website in the world. Does anyone here want to use the second best video website in the world? Anybody here even want that on their phone right now? Yeah, that's what I thought. So YouTube, completely unbeatable. Completely unbeatable, undeniable results. Now, something you don't know is that there are roughly over 5 billion searches to YouTube a day. A day. If you got a small fraction of that, knowing that you don't make the most charismatic, cinematic, over-the-top content, if you literally just learned to solve problems for people and you were posting videos on a regular basis solving problems for people, you could get a small sliver of that 5 billion searches a day. So when you read statistics and headlines and they tell you, hey, less than 10% of all YouTube traffic comes from search, I don't want you to take that seriously because even though it's a nice to know, irrelevant. The sheer volume is so much that you could easily fill up your water jug from Niagara Falls pretty quick and everything like that. You don't really need that much of it. That's basically like saying, oh, what fraction is Niagara Falls of all the water on planet Earth? You get what I'm saying? It's like very important to put numbers and data and things into context and realize that there's still an opportunity for every single person here to be a successful content creator. And by the way, successful content creator is someone who only has 10,000 subscribers on YouTube because 90% of people don't ever get that far. No matter how long they try, no matter how hard they try, they don't get to there. And the overwhelming majority of people never make $1,000 on the internet, but we're gonna solve for that right now. So online video can print money. Why do I say that? Online video can print money because when you make useful, evergreen content, because most of you here, you have skill sets. You have legitimate things that you've earned and talents that 90% to 99% of the population on planet Earth doesn't have. Only 1% of people in the entire human race can code. So anyone here who's a coder, congratulations, you're a 1%er. You just didn't even realize it. The other thing is many of you here have software skills and specialties that, again, more than 95% of the population doesn't have. Who here has 2 software in Adobe that they feel confident to say that they're either very high, intermediate, or they're close to mastery? Show of hands and keep them up and look around. Look around. Now, among your peers in your bubble, you may not think that's special. Once you walk out of this building and you walk out into the street, you are only going to, at best, be 1 or 2 of 100 people if we pull randomly from the street at any given time, which means you have value to the market that the overwhelming majority of people in the world, let alone the majority of people with disposable income, simply do not have. You are inherently and objectively valuable to people who have disposable income and need your skills because they are considerably rare. And every time you get a new software skill, every time you learn a new tool, every time you learn a new technique, you become more rare and your market value goes up. The majority of people in the world are not creative, and they're not creative entrepreneurs, and they are not learning new skills every quarter, every year. They're not learning a new software. They're not going to do that. But you are. So your value is going to continue to increase while most people stagnate, and that is the difference between everyone in this room, God bless you, and everyone outside of this room. Everyone in this building and everyone outside of this building. I'm not trying to say this in a pretentious way, but you are literally special because I can prove it objectively with the math, the way I like to. So yes, if you have content that lives on the internet in perpetuity in the form of online video, it can earn you ad revenue. That's money you don't have to wake up, get a client, do an invoice, and do revision number 53 to earn. If you have a product to sell, this is a sales force for you. Every single video that you publish to YouTube becomes your sales force. It is an army of clones. And for my nerds here and everything like that, you know exactly what I'm talking about when it's an army of clones that can do your bidding and go out and make your money. That's an anime reference to Naruto. Yes, it is. I'm a big old nerd and everything like that. Our YouTube videos are shadow clone armies out there going and getting our money for us, whether that's ad revenue, whether that's new product sales, whether that's building our reputation with new clients by showing off those skills. It is our sales force. And the best part is it works 24/7. It never sleeps. It never stops. The Terminator won't call out sick. The Terminator won't try to alter the deal. So we have that advantage of scale in a way we've never had as creative people before. We have scale because these pieces of content are essentially clones. Now, let's get into some real brass tacks here. You can screenshot this if you want, but you already do have the presentation. This is how you earn $100 per video. YouTube AdSense, there's almost no niche in YouTube that pays $100 per video in ad revenue on its own. Education-based and tutorial-based niches have a CPM rate of usually approximately, in a wide range, from $15 to about $50. However, YouTube takes a 55% cut of ad revenue, so that means your take home on those videos is somewhere roughly between $8 to $22 in terms of what we call an RPM, revenue per mil, on the advertising side. Do not be obsessed with YouTube ad revenue. YouTube ad revenue is nice. It is a legitimate form of passive income through royalties, and I say royalties not in the traditional sense. I say royalties because that is what the IRS tax classification for it is, which you will learn if you decide to pursue this endeavor. And so it is passive income in that regard. However, it's not the best form of passive income that you can have. As I've illustrated here, the ability and the margin on digital downloads, if you have 1,000 views, you only need one conversion on a $100 product, 2 conversions on 50, and so on and so forth. And then if you want tangible products, I've also, in this equation, more or less broken that down for you as well. So again, merchandise, print-on-demand products, so on and so forth, are also something that you can do if that's more suited to your audience. The point is to have great offers. And remember, these are evergreen videos, which means it's not about, oh, how many views did I get today? It's the fact that these can give you views in perpetuity. I have a video that I think just stopped bringing in the 500 views a day it was bringing in. That video was 5 years old and was still bringing in 500 views a day for years. And in the process of doing that, it was building up affiliate income for me, which in that case was also affiliate income that was monthly recurring revenue. So that means that paycheck that I didn't have to wake up and hustle for to make those sales off of the affiliate money still keeps coming in every month off of that video, and I still don't have to do anything. Even when that video stops getting views, the affiliate money will keep coming because it's a sale I already made. As long as the customer stays with the SaaS product, I'm good. And so you have to consider that this is a level of scale to your income that you cannot earn through active income and through physical client work and client services. This is a way to give yourself an advantage with technology rather than being victimized by technology. I know there are a lot of conversations around that, AI and displacement, but the thing is, you can leverage some of these things to your advantage when it comes to scale and force multipliers. And when you understand how to set up enough offers, some of you can write books, Amazon KDP. When you do that, and you do the book in enough formats, you're gonna have 4 SKUs. You could have videos, and you could plug your videos with links to your books. Some of you could have multiple books like Terry White and Scott Kelby have done. And you could have those listed in the description of every single one of those videos. And if those videos are useful and helpful and they are evergreen in nature because they address principles, they address fundamentals, or they address hardware that won't go out of date, like camera lenses, for example. We all know here that camera lenses, we'll use the same camera lens and there won't be an update to that thing for like 7 or 8 years. That's a pretty long shelf life for the product reviews. Those product reviews could earn you passive income as an Amazon influencer in perpetuity, but what if you also sold products that help make people a better photographer the way that Tony and Chelsea Northup do, or Scott Kelby, or Terry White, or Jared Polin, or any number, Peter McKinnon, any number of people? What if you had digital products, or you had presets, or what if you had things for creative enthusiasts that make them feel proud to wear it, whether that's your merchandise, whether that's a hat, whether that's a lanyard, whether that is some kind of camera accessory. You can scale from these things because they are evergreen, which means that it is a true form of passive income in perpetuity for you, at least so far as a long shelf life exceeding a year or two. So you can still benefit from work one time and make money off of it literally thousands of times. This lays out exactly what your offers can be and how to price them. I told you. I did your homework for you and everything like that. I am that guy that you paid $20 for the book report back in high school. So, the 6 paths of profit for online videos. This one is, again, there is another Easter egg reference in there for the people who do know it, the 6 paths of profit. So, platform revenue, that is what a platform like YouTube, TikTok, or Twitch will pay you, and that usually comes in the form of creator funds or in the form of ad revenue as an ad revenue partner. And again, there are different splits for different platforms with that. YouTube is one of the more generous ones when it comes to ad revenue specifically at 55-45. Then you have donations. In YouTube, those are called super chats and super thanks. They also have super stickers. The revenue split on those donations from your fans are a 70-30 split on YouTube's side. That's also the same for YouTube's channel memberships, where you have paying members. Twitch does something similar, but that is a 50-50 split. And there is a version of a 70-30 split, but only less than 1% of creators qualify for that, which is why YouTube is kicking their butt in streaming right now. New platforms are coming to take a piece of the pie for them, offering more generous revenue splits. Disruption is good for us as creators because when platforms compete, we win. So good things there. Memberships. Like I said, the platforms take heavy percentages of memberships. I'm a big fan of using things like Kajabi or Teachable to just be able to absorb most of, if not all, that money besides fees. With Kajabi, between fees and cost, on $100,000 a year for my site, awesomecreatoracademy.com, it does about $100,000 a year. I've been doing that for 5 years. I think with fees and cost, it's just under $2,000, which means that I keep 98% of the revenue, and this is on like digital products and on coaching services, which means that that's literally an over 90% profit margin on this, which is like really, really good. That's what you want. But remember, you deal with platforms, you're doing revenue sharing because of the facilitation, because you're not paying up front. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, with memberships, which we will get into, the key here is that this is going to be your true fans, and you want to, in your head, have a plan for getting 100 to 1,000 people that you consolidate into some kind of monthly recurring membership and subscription model. But ultimately, our goal for customers is you want as large a customer list as possible. For creative professionals, I don't think a customer list of 1,000 to 10,000 people is unreasonable. It sounds crazy for people who have done client services to scale to that number, but that's why we're taking advantage of digital, and we're making a companion to the analog skills that we earned with our decades of work. And that's why we're going to get our just reward for that work, because we did it up front. Now we have the capacity to scale, and we can do it without needing to put a tremendous pressure on it, and we don't have to physically clone ourselves when we can digitally clone ourselves. Let's talk about affiliate income. For people not building their own products, you can benefit from existing products. This isn't just like the Amazon influencer program. You can do SaaS products, whether that's things like Adobe itself. They offer an affiliate program. I don't believe it's recurring monthly. B&H has an affiliate program as well. I think it's slightly more generous than Amazon's, if I'm being honest. Many of you probably have experienced that. Then on top of everything else, you do have some of these, not only SaaS products from companies you already use. If you're already paying for a subscription, the odds are the same company you pay a subscription for will give you 20, 30, or even 50% of every sale that you make for them. Now again, not everyone here might love sales or be good at that. Guess what though? Videos that provide value become the sales pitch to the affiliate link, because it's like, hey, I want your results. I'll just use the thing you're using. And so it's a very simple funnel for that, can do very well. Just as an example, not as a humble brag, there was a platform that I started out with, I want to say in 2016, and I didn't think much of it because even though recurring monthly revenue, the commissions on the product for me were going to be 50% commissions on an offer that was anywhere from $5 to, I think it's $50 a month, and that didn't sound like a lot of money. Well, as it turns out, without doing anything, I make $3,000 to $4,000 a month roughly on recurring revenue from that company. I have been for years, and I think total I've made $400,000 plus from them in the last 5 to 6 years. Totally underestimated how valuable the cumulative commissions on 6,000 customers were. I completely, if I had known, I would have tried to get them 20,000 customers. So that was my bad. But that's just an example to show you how valuable this can be. There are companies out there, if you look for them. I've done videos about the best affiliate companies. There are companies out there that pay $50 or more bounty commissions per sale, or some of them do recurring monthly, and the recurring monthly on that could be $100 per customer because it's a high value offer in terms of a software that people need. And again, this is not going to scale to everyone in your audience, but it will scale to the top 1% of earners in your audience. And so just kind of keep that in mind. And you know, you're usually dealing with folks that buy Apple laptops, Sony, Nikon, and Canon gear and everything like that. I think they've got enough disposable income for you to get a small piece of that. I really do. Brand deals and sponsored content. You can work with brands and you can either do sponsored content on your own platform, but for those of you who are smaller but have tremendous production value, do not despair. You can be a UGC creator. What is UGC? User-generated content. All that means is you're now a vendor that is making really nice content for another person's platform because it's actually, even while paying you your tremendous and well-earned invoices, it's still cheaper than hiring an ad agency or hiring a boutique agency to just work with you as probably either a small team or a solo creator, solo entrepreneur. So they're going to save a lot of money, and you can bill $3,000, $5,000 per month on a year-long contract and have stability. So it's really great to be a UGC creator and work with a brand, even if you don't need to use your platform. That is when you have high-quality work, but still a small audience, but you're over-performing and over-delivering. Brands see that and say, why is this YouTuber better than the people we paid $30,000 for the last ad that we ran? And that's going to be the reality for a lot of you in here, is that you didn't consider that path, but it's right there. So again, you can still work with brands even if you don't have a big audience. Product sales. Again, we talked about this. Digital products, merchandise, courses, books. There are all kinds of opportunities there. Some of you could also expand that and say, hey, I'm going to still use this to grow my client services business as well. So ad revenue and creator funds. Like I said, this is not necessarily my favorite income stream because there is that massive, massive revenue sharing aspect with the platforms. And so you will be relieved to say, I'm getting something for my effort and my work once you qualify for those. But it is minuscule in comparison to what you can get if you get your own customers. And just remember, when you grow an audience on these platforms, you're growing their pipeline. They have the contacts, they have the emails, they have the control, they have the access. You have none of that. That's why building your own list, your own products, and your own client database is so valuable and so important, is because that's true ownership, the thing we've been denied for far too long. Donations and fan funding. This is people who are your ride or dies that are supporting you with their wallet and not just their eyeballs anymore. This one is amazing, and you'd be surprised how generous people can be when it comes to, wait for it, microtransactions. Microtransactions. So imagine that instead of the microtransactions that most people do without even thinking in a day, between DoorDash, vending machines, a snack here or there, that real quick run up to McDonald's for that double cheeseburger that back in my day used to cost $1 on the dollar menu, which no longer exists. It's a relic of the past, and I won't let it go, and it doesn't matter how much they raise the inflation. The fast food dollar menu has to come back. The fast food prices are too high. That's my little joke there for anyone who's an old head like me, hashtag old heads, you know. It's like RIP dollar menu. And so the microtransactions that people do throughout their day end up being very interesting in the sense that they're willing to give money to a faceless brand, organization, or logo that has no connection to them and hasn't delivered personal value. You as a content creator through live streaming have the ability to build a connection with a person, and they are more than happy to put $2 and $5 into your pocket whenever you go live, because that is money that they literally spend on a Nestle Crunch bar, probably now a Mr. Beast bar if I'm being honest, or a Coca-Cola, or again, it's better to give you that $5 than to spend the $3.59 on a double cheeseburger. So actually that's probably a single cheeseburger now, inflation. So just keep in mind that fan funding can be lucrative, and that if you have a small but loyal, dedicated audience, those microtransactions can end up doing very well. Good friend of mine, Emily D. Baker, she would stream and react as a lawyer, and still does, to ongoing lawsuits with celebrities in pop culture. I believe that in donations alone, based on the data I have from playboard.co, that she does about $20,000 a month just through donations and microtransactions. From 3,000 people donating, which means that the average person is donating about $8.50, which again is not some tremendous thing in terms of that. That is literally a trip to McDonald's. That is usually something that, I mean, I think I literally spent more than that or about that. No, I tipped. So when I was coming up here, that was a brisk iced tea and a hot dog, and totally worth every penny. But there you have it. Not a really big deal, but those microtransactions add up when you're streaming multiple times a week, and then you have 3,000 people that come through with $2, $5, $8, and then a few high rollers, they'll throw $20 or $50 here or there. It all adds up. Those microtransactions can be tremendous, and it's underestimated. Digital products and e-commerce. Again, my particular favorite, digital products and e-commerce. Why? Because it scales and it's evergreen, and you do the work once. There are so many of you who could create tremendous products and offers. Some of you, you could make something that anybody would be happy to pay $10 to $20 for, and it will only cost you 10 hours of work, less than you work at your 9-to-5 job. If any of you put in 40 hours into creating a product, it is a product that I'm almost positive that people will be happy to pay $50 to $99 for the equivalent of a week of your work. And if you did that, and if you sold to enough people, if you have 1,000 people that you create real value for, true fans, at $99 a pop, that is $100,000 in digital products off of 40 hours of your life committed to just creating some real value. There are a lot of you that spend a tremendous amount of time creating value one time for one client, and the thing is, the process and things you did along the way are something that other people would have paid for. They might have paid a fraction of what you invoiced for, but that fraction of what you invoiced to one client for, when scaled to 1,000 people, 10,000 people, is tremendous and out-earns the value of that one client, that one time. And guess what? Same amount of hours to scale for 1,000 people as to serve one. But nobody ever told you that. That's the hat trick. Membership websites. We already talked about this. The goal, get 1,000 true fans, if we can, over the course of roughly 5 years, if we can pull that off, depending on it. Easiest pitch on the membership website is a very simple model, dollars per day in value. If you've ever wondered, how do I price memberships, Roberto? Dollars per day in value. So if you're reaching the average person, easy sales pitch is, do you trust me and the thing that I'm providing to be worth at least $1 a day in value to you? That is the $29 a month membership. Hey, for less than half of the price of a Starbucks coffee every single day, do you trust me to give you $2 in value? Well, all of a sudden, that's a $59 a month membership. Hey, for the price of a cheap McDonald's coffee, $3 a day in value, 99 bucks a month. That is the analogy in sales pitches, the comparison of the opportunity cost of something very minimal, very minuscule that you easily spend money on, now for something that creates a difference or a transformation that you desperately want that exceeds that price. The transformation is worth more than the cost. The access to the opportunity is worth more than the cost. And I'm already spending the money on something that is less valuable. That's the sales mentality and the sales psychology to the membership model. And as much as I know some people are frustrated by that $59 a month Adobe subscription, we all pay it and we all pay the ransom and we all know why. Because, well, one, they're gonna get their money. Like, number two, The reason we pay the ransom is because when we weigh the opportunity of $3,600 of industry software, that is the same software that is going to be used by J.J. Abrams and his team, the same software that's going to be used by the folks over at LucasArts to make great things like Ahsoka. It's like hashtag Ahsoka, man. Oh, it's Tato Tuesdays. But like, it's tremendous to say I have the ability and the opportunity to use the same tools, the same access as these people at the top. And so the opportunity is too good to pass up when we say, you know, that's $2 a day. I blow that on much less valuable things. So remember the psychology of sales. It's about the transformation, it's about the opportunity, it's why we buy versus what we buy. You have to consider that. Sponsorships, brand deals, UGC. It's not about the reach as much as it is sometimes your reputation, what you represent, and ultimately your capacity to prove that you can drive revenue. If you can prove revenue generation by showing a brand your own product sales or showing the affiliate sales, one of the best things you could ever do, become an affiliate for a brand that you want sponsorship from or to work with. Show them that you've already created value and that you're already a wonderful member of their sales team and a great representative and ambassador of the brand without even being on payroll. That's a really good opportunity because a lot of people they work with haven't proven that to them. They just proved reach. It's a risk. They have not proven revenue generation. All they've proven is reach. If you can prove that, hey, I represent and am the avatar and advocate for your customer in a way that nobody else is, well, that's representational value there. Reputation, hey, I am completely brand safe. I'm someone who works in the field. I'm someone who has a great reputation in the field. I'm someone maybe who's won an award or has these certifications or these accolades and everything like that. And my credibility is worth something to a practitioner. My credibility is worth something because it doesn't make me an influencer. It makes me part of the community and I'm respected. And there's a big difference with that. So remember, the representational value, representing the customer avatar in a real way, the reputation that you can build through credibility, genuinely earned credibility, not just reach. And then the proof of revenue generation is making you much, much more valuable to a brand than just big numbers. Oh, big number go up. That's real leverage. I'll tell you a lot of times that influencers underprice and undercharge because they don't have those three things. All they have is reach. Most of you here have a better opportunity. And remember, the quality of your work and everything I just said, if reach is the problem, fantastic. You're the brand, you have reach, and my content looks better than yours. Then you become the UGC content creator. There you go. I know a friend of mine, she had an issue cracking 10,000 views on her uploads, got a $150,000 a year contract to make videos for a brand. She did confections and she did these really cool pastry-like videos and she had this wonderful, beautiful aesthetic. Her stuff is top-notch, cinematic. Her videos go viral for the brand every single time. Her own YouTube channel, she can't track 10,000 views on it for some reason, but the brand is happy to pay her $150,000 on a contract. She still gets to run her own YouTube channel because her content was too good. They knew she was doing a better job. She just didn't have the reach. She was worth it for them, and it was a great partnership. Monetization strategy. This is definitely the one to screenshot here. I lay it all out here. You don't have to do every one of the 6 paths to profit right away. You can tackle them 1 or 2 at a time. If anything, maybe you start with 2, and then you add 1 of them per year, and you double down on it with the goal of expanding on whatever is easiest, comes best to you. But again, a good mix of them is something that probably can earn you money in your sleep, passive income. So again, the digital products is one that I think is a staple for everyone here. As you build and grow a community, the memberships might be easier to tackle in the future. So maybe that's one that you put on the back burner. Maybe you don't start with memberships. And maybe if you sell digital products, you can figure out who would qualify to sell into memberships later and some kind of all access pass of some kind. Then, when it comes to ad revenue, that's obviously something that you do, platform revenue, ad revenue, the microtransactions on donations. Those are probably the 2 that you start with because they're right there built into the platform. The one that you own, that you have control over, I definitely recommend the digital product side. But again, if that's the case and you don't have the time to make the digital products, then become an affiliate of somebody else's products. Even if it's another creator, by the way, nothing says you have to do all of this just with the big brands. You could partner with another creator that has their own product, become part of their sales force, and get 20, 30, or 50% commissions. 50% is usually called a joint venture, so you're probably very close to that person. But if not, and it's just a purely professional relationship, certainly you can get a 30, 20% affiliate code and be able to do something and work it out there. A lot of people offer those. In the future, if you have your own products, you can even create your own affiliates and you can absolutely scale, because then you have the same thing a company does, again, right in the palm of your hand. And so you could do that. If you ever do that, though, I do recommend a very limited affiliate thing where you don't have everybody being affiliate for you. Maybe you actually literally put a limited seating for your own affiliate program of only 20 or 50 people, so you can vet all of them, and so that you can also maybe somehow invest in kind of training them up a little bit once a month to make sure that they're getting those sales for you. Just imagine if you even had 5 people that had the capacity and the reach, and they were your best affiliate partners of all time. And imagine if they were just going out and they were like, I only need to make $2,000 a month as a side hustle. And let's say they were a joint venture partner. You'd be getting $1,000 a month from your 5 top performers. That's $60,000 a year you're not working for, just because you have a product and you have other people who will happily sell it for you. And that's not even your own sales. That's a 6-figure business. So again, this is reasonable and possible, and it doesn't require large scale to accomplish. That large scale and broad reach does make it easier to refine down to some great outliers. Pareto principle, 80% of results from 20% of inputs. The larger our scale, the better that 20% is going to be. And so that's my main presentation for you. You can find everything from me that I offer over at awesomecreatoracademy.com. I also do have a few minutes here to take 1 or 2 questions. I'm also more than happy to spend the remaining 30 minutes my voice probably has out in the hall answering every single one of your questions in between sips of water. So thank you, everybody, and then let's go to Q&A.